Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to another live, y'all. Happy Monday to everybody's that's watching the live and watching the replay. Shout out to y'all. We have a very, very special live today. Hold on, wait. We need some. I always forget to turn my background music on. Give me a second. Okay, we need a little, little razzle dazzle in the background. But today is so special, y'all. We have one of my favorite people on here today, Miss B. Roberson, located in Playa del Carmen. I'm in Playa too, y'all. Y'all see the background. It's giving Playa. But Miss B here is so special. We need to make sure y'all are actually engaging, are here today, understand who's right in front of y'all today. The owner of B's Frito Polo, the best fried chicken in Mexico. B, you want to say a few
Thank you.
words? Introduce yourself to the people.
Yes, hi. I want to first say hello to the replayers. Yeah, I'm just happy to be here. I am B. Roberson of the B's Frito Pollo here in Playa del Carmen,
Said it wrong.
Mexico. It's really Pollo. Pollo is like a but we'll just stick to Pollo. So B's
Okay,
Frito
teach us some
Pollo.
Spanish.
Yeah, I learned that. I was like, man, I've been saying that wrong all along, but it's Pollo, beef Frito Pollo, and I'm here in Playa del Carmen, Mexico, and I've been living here for about 3 years, and yeah,
Mm.
and so I have my business here in Playa del Carmen. I'm serving people real, authentic Southern fried chicken and the fixing. So that's what I do here. And yeah, I'm just thank you, Jasmine, for having me. And I look forward to our discussion and to see what people have to say or what they want to know.
Yes. Okay. I love the modesty. That's one thing I will say because it has to be like a heavy load carrying the responsibility of this fried chicken on your back. Okay, you serving the people, doing the Lord's work.
Doing the Lord's
Um,
work.
we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot
It's
to get into. I want to shout out to y'all that's in the live. Shout out to y'all in the replay because honestly, these are so special and like I think B, you're my third person that I brought on. And I'm just so
Mhm.
happy to have such amazing people on the live and, coming on to tell y'all story. I'm honored. I'm honored.
Good.
So
And
I
we're honored
definitely,
too. I said we are honored to be
oh,
able
you
to
trying to
tell
be
our
sweet.
stories as well.
We try to be sweet. I'm just doing my job. I'm servicing, doing my service, doing my part. Okay, so we definitely gonna get into everything. I really want to cover the move to Mexico, starting a business, the marketing side, all of that, the whole shebang. But first, I kind of want to get into what was your life like before Mexico? You know,
Ooh,
because I know
my
this was
life.
your first business, so we got to go to the past first.
So this is my first food truck. I am what is called a serial entrepreneur. I'm not
Hmm.
shy to the business world or anything like that, but this is my first food truck and restaurant, serving this large of a mass of people every single day, right?
Yes.
My life before this, I'm very entrepreneurial. I love to create things. I love to be innovative and bring things to light. So being an entrepreneur is not something that I'm new to. But before I came to Playa, or before I started my business, I actually was doing a car service business here in Playa del Carmen. And so I was the person, it was called Free, Just Be Free car service. So people would call me, call me, and I would pick them up from Cancun, take them to wherever their hotel was, or pick them up from Tulum, as far as taking people even to Merida. And so that's what I did here before I started the food truck. And then before that, I was a real estate agent. So here in Playa del Carmen. So I've given you guys three careers or three things you can do
But
here in
see,
Playa del
see,
Carmen.
we want to know what were you
Uh-huh.
doing before Playa del Carmen?
Oh, before Playa del Carmen. Okay, so before Playa
Before
del Carmen, yep, I was a real estate agent, and I
Playa.
also had Airbnbs in Atlanta and Decatur, and also I managed in Nashville, Tennessee. So I was in the Airbnb game, and I had been in the Airbnb game since 2015. So when it was like the Wild Wild West, I was out there, making that bread before all those regulations started kicking in and everything. So not only did I sell houses to people and things like that, I also dabbed into the real estate investment side of it. So I invested in properties and would turn them into Airbnbs, and as well as I tried a flip, investing in a rundown home and then flipping it to make a profit. So, like I said, I've always been entrepreneurial, and I've loved real estate for over 25, 26 years. I love real estate. I love seeing the
Mhm.
beauty of homes, how they can transform to trash, and then they can be, this
Something
beautiful
special. Yeah.
masterpiece. Yeah, so so that's what I did before I came to Playa del Carmen. I also stumbled into teaching. um, I taught I taught first graders in Nashville, Tennessee. My first time ever teaching, but I stumbled into it by being a substitute teacher, and then having the opportunity to teach for 2 years at a school in Nashville, Tennessee. And that was rewarding because it was something that I always thought about doing. But
Mhm.
of course, my career didn't, that's not the career that I wanted to do,
Wanted
but
to
I
do,
always,
yeah.
yeah, so when I had the opportunity, I said, why not? Look, I'll try anything. And so it was very rewarding. It was very
Mhm.
challenging. I tell everybody that being a teacher, really, you have to show up. It's no time
Yeah, and these
for
kids, these new kids,
these
listen,
new kids. Look,
these new
yes,
kids are different.
they are different. They will be like, Miss Roberson, that ain't how the sun move, or they will call you out on the carpet. You hear me? So, so yes, I taught for 2 years, and it started. I was regular teacher, but then it has started to be online because, of course, COVID happened during that
Hmm.
time. But it was rewarding. It was so rewarding. I love teaching the kids. The kids were absolutely amazing, smart, but yet they were children. So you had those challenges, but it was very rewarding. I believe that I came into, a person who's able to speak in front of people, because you think, okay, they're kids. But honey, it's like becoming. You have to switch that camera on. Once the camera's on, you have to be like, okay, let's get
You gotta
into it.
stay on.
And
Yeah.
you have to stay
Yeah.
on. So it taught me to like let all the nerves get out of my body, because at first I was a nervous wreck speaking in front of people, and so when I remember my first day, I was like, and the kids were sitting there like,
What's she talking about? She finna teach us?
what is this for y'all heard? So but I grew into my own, and so yeah, so it was lovely. It was lovely.
I love the fact that, and I should have corrected myself. First food truck, first, business in the restaurant industry.
Hmm.
Because I definitely believe that sometimes, because I know you didn't know you was gonna move to Mexico and start a restaurant, business, get into the food industry. So I think it's so interesting how like we be doing these things in our lives and we don't realize that they're going to play a part in our future. They're going to like the
Hmm.
reason you have those experiences is the reason you're excelling in something you had no idea you would be doing, years later. So we got, let me recap. Okay. Airbnb business.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. Airbnb, teacher, um,
Real
obviously
estate.
real estate, yes.
Hmm.
And then what I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting one.
Real estate investment. Real
And then
estate is
we
real
got to
estate.
Playa.
Oh, car service.
Got to Playa, did the car service. So yeah, you just all around entrepreneur. So that definitely helps in starting this business. So let's take it back. So we moved to Playa in December 2020. So kind of take us through your thought process of why Playa. How did this come about? What prompted you to move to Mexico first and foremost, especially because you got all these businesses and going on back at home. So why did you move?
So I would say probably in 2019, I went through a breakup of a long term relationship that I had while I was in Atlanta, Georgia, and And I was always a really confident person. Like I was confident. I didn't have a problem with speaking with people. I kind of trusted my judgment. I was a visionary, but this relationship really took a toll on me, and so I was at a place at some point where I was I was going to commit suicide. I went to go visit my friends. I believe that was in maybe March of 2019. No, March of 20, either 18 or 19. Those years are kind of melting together. But and I was a strong friend. I was the one who was always smiling, always kidding around.
Mm-hmm.
But I was in a situation, in a relationship that was not serving me and that was not healthy and was very toxic. And so I had attempted to break up and move out a couple times and was not successful. And I was just tired. I was tired. I was depressed. Um I would I didn't trust my own judgment. I was going through quite a few things. And so I found myself in a place of depression, anxiety. And I went to go visit my friend. She had just had my best friend. She had just had a baby. And so I went to go visit her to support her and to see the baby. And I remember that was the day that I had decided that I was going to end my life. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I went there, I remember it was all joy. We were laughing. But I was hiding the secret that this was going to be my last day seeing my best friend and my best friends and her daughter and everything, and that this would be the last day that I lived because I didn't want to go back into the situation that I was in. And so, but I remember while I was there for the visit, the joy that I felt, and being surrounded by love and being reminded of what that felt like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that I there was just something gnawing in me to say something. And before I left, I was just like, I told them the plan. You know, I did not know that I would get the reaction that I got from them. I thought that, I don't know what I was thinking, but I just told them, like this is the last day that I'm going to live. I don't know what I was thinking, but they went into action and they wrapped their arms around me and they were like, we're going to do whatever we have to do to get you out of the situation and to start your healing journey. So my friends, they stepped up. One of them went back with me to where I lived at, and we kind of came up with a plan of how I was gonna, finally escape the situation, that I was having a hard time leaving. And so yeah, so that kind of put the windmill on my healing journey, like what made me as an individual the confident,
Mm-hmm.
outgoing person that I normally am, get into this situation where I am now in a place of, getting
Complete
ready to commit
despair.
suicide
Yeah.
and being in complete despair. Where is this coming from?
Yeah.
And so that started the healing journey, and the healing journey took several different turns. I was by myself. I journaled. I meditated. I prayed. I cried. I just was just wanting to feel like the old B. I wanted to feel like the old B, the outgoing, the one
Yeah.
who could do anything, the one who was, willing to take chances, and stuff like that. And so, I went to my aunt's house who was in Florida. I was there for about a good 3 months, and I basically meditated every night. I would journal. I would ask myself the tough questions that I needed to ask, and started to work on my health and fitness, and would run every day and would walk with my dog every day. Just starting to start getting back to the old B that I was before. So that started the windmill of the healing journey and what brought me to Playa, because then my dad he was very sick. He had a lung disease, and so he had a lung transplant, and it had kind of started going into remission. So so he was sick, and through all of this, we were just wishing for the best with that process, and so having to deal with the father who was sick, and still trying to be on my healing journey and things like that. Um, Moved to Nashville to be around my best friend and her family who loved me dearly and who always poured into me. I moved to Nashville and was there for a little bit. Again, I stumbled into teaching and and so yeah, and then came time for for during the I think the pandemic had just started and or the corona outbreak had just started and I have been teaching and so we were planning a lot of travel during 2020.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, okay, we were on our way to Italy. We had our tickets to Johannesburg in South Africa, and
Oh,
I was supposed to be in Ghana in December 2020 for my 40th birthday. And
COVID didn't care
so
about none of that. She didn't care.
Corona was like, I mean, not Corona, but yeah, Corona didn't care about none of that, okay?
Mm-mm.
And it was so crazy because it was like we really had our travel planned. We were like, we were going to, we were going to do this, and then all of a sudden we just saw all of our flights just
Cancel, cancel,
cancel,
cancel,
cancel,
cancel.
cancel, 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 cancel. And I was like, hey, wow, this is crazy. And so in that time period of the corona, I mean, corona, what is it? Is it the corona? Yeah, it's corona.
C-19, yeah.
Yeah, C-19. That was going crazy and everything out in the States. And so my dad, like I said, he was sick and fighting his remission of his lung transplant. And so I was just like, okay, I'm single. It was the time of George Floyd and the Breonna Taylor and all of the Aubrey,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the the brutal, atrocities that were happening to Black and Brown people at the time. It was just at the heights. It was the Black Lives Matter movement,
A
and
lot going on.
it was a lot going
It was
on.
like back to back. It never ended,
It was
honestly.
just like it was like back to back. Everything was going on. Everything was happening, and I just found myself like trying to every time thought I was feeling a little bit better, finding myself back in this place of despair. I was like,
Yeah.
ah. I found out that I had a tumor in my finger that was causing me so much pain and so much. My quality of life was just down the drain. I found myself, drinking to go to sleep, and it was just a lot. A lot was
Well,
going
okay,
on. I
so
mean,
first let me say a few things. Shout out to shout out to your friends
shout
because
out to my friends. Yes.
man, shout out to your friends. I resonated so deeply with what you just mentioned about being the strong friend, being the goofy
Mhm.
one, being the happy one, being the one that's, people view as got it always put together. That it's very hard to be transparent and vulnerable and admit, like, I am not okay. So shout out
Mhm.
to your friends for, being there for you, not just being in your circle, but being in your corner when you needed them the most. Shout out to you. Like, shout out to you for having the strength to admit that, like, there was something left fighting. Like, you
Mhm.
wanted to
Mhm.
exit,
Mhm.
but there was some part of you that was like, nah, like, I really don't want to do that. So I need to try this one last thing of telling somebody my plan in hopes of that they will stop me from doing this thing that I really deep down don't want to do. So I really want to talk about that because I'm sure a lot of people watching this have anxiety, can relate to feeling depressed, especially now. Like you said, even though that was 2020 and it was something going on back to back to back, it still hasn't stopped. You know what
Right. Right.
I mean? Every time you look up, there's something going on in the US. And I feel like as Black and brown people, we got multiple, battles that we're fighting constantly at the same time.
Yeah.
Everyone in America is fighting a battle, right?
Mhm.
But we're
Mhm.
fighting different battles.
Right.
So I definitely think that a lot of people watching can relate to the fact that sometimes we don't know it's the out. Sometimes we don't know like there's a better way of life. Sometimes we don't know that I don't have to sit in this place of being unhappy with my situation, or I
Mhm.
can change my environments. I can trust the people I call my friends to let them in on what's going on. So I definitely want to just thank you for even being vulnerable with me and on this live and this interview. It takes a lot, you know. So shout out to you for that, B.
Thank
Now,
you.
you know, I know that we talked about before the plant medicine. So
Ah,
I definitely
yes,
want to
yes.
get into the you know, when you finally got to Playa and was able to find your peace again and be
Hmm.
happy and all those things and get back to yourself, do you feel like due to everything that you went through that was kind of a motivator to get into the shrooms and the ayahuasca and can we talk a little bit about that experience and do you feel like because you healed a little bit it was a better experience than if you would have went and did it, you know, when you were still in the middle of your turmoil?
So I think that at right at that point I had been on this healing journey. I had as I said before, I had entered into meditation and just kind of like doing the work, right? What we call doing the
Mm-hmm.
work. And so when I came to Playa, I Mother Ayahuasca was kind of calling me. I kind of was curious about it. I started seeing um, different YouTube videos, and Jada Pickett Smith and her family was talking about it. But I had been researching and kind of like just getting into those psychedelics as a healing modality even before that. But it was almost like okay, like this is your moment, this is your time, And so
Mm-hmm.
I began with the I did ayahuasca when I came back to Playa after I went back and took care of my father's affairs and everything. After he passed away, I did ayahuasca, and I feel like it was for me. I feel like it was a better experience because I had came in there with sort of like what it was that I was seeking. I had specific questions. I had, I wanted to know, like I had these, I had already kind of, made the
Researched and looked into it, yeah.
yeah, so I was ready, And so when the opportunity presented itself, I was able to do ayahuasca here in Playa del Carmen, and it was at the end of the year of 21, and so it was at the end of the year, and I remember going and just so I don't know. I didn't know what to really expect. You hear people say different things, but I know that everybody's experience is very different. And so I just knew that I wanted to have an open heart and an open mind and to be, you know, um, open to receiving what it is that I needed to receive on this continued healing journey. And I would tell people, ayahuasca is work. I tell people this all the time. Ayahuasca is work. It is not, a feel good. I'm gonna go and get high or nothing. It's not like that. It is definitely
Mhm.
something that is work. My sister, she said that it was like 10 years of therapy in a 5 hour period. It
Oh,
is,
wow.
and so I can say for myself that it is work. It is deep. It is, to me, it was necessary. It was an amazing experience, a confusing experience. I continue to get the downloads to this very day. Um, I, it was everything and more, but I wouldn't be able to do it for another maybe 10 years.
Look, I'm like, I want to do ayahuasca. I don't even know if y'all watching. Do y'all know what ayahuasca is? I don't know.
Ayahuasca is a plant medicine that
Yes.
originated from the Africas, but made its way down to Peru, and is a plant medicine that is it takes you. It's a psychedelic, as they say, so it takes you through stages, and it opens you up to be able to experience your ancestors and different things. It is a medicine that has been known to heal people of alcohol addiction, drug addiction, depression. It's a medicine that takes you back to the foundation. I mean, when I finished ayahuasca, let me just say, when I first did it, it hit me like in 3 minutes. I drunk the juice. I was sitting there, and in 3 minutes, I was like, what the fuck? Man, you guys are quiet. I was like, what is this? My whole body, like my whole body went back into my own body, and then went down, and then kind of like morphed into a molecule or something. It was wild.
I like want to do it, but I'm so scared. But the fact that I'm so scared makes me want to do it even more. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it.
I
Because
just
I was my sister, she also did it, and I was scared for her. I was like, I don't know if she's gonna come back, Lord. I don't know why I'm gonna do this. I don't know if she's gonna come back, but she came back. I mean, when she came back home, she was just a totally different person. You
wow.
know, I will say for myself, after I had did ayahuasca, I did a lot of purging and everything like that. And I remember the
Mhm.
shaman. It's led by shamans and people who are experienced in this healing modality, and so you are surrounded by people who are facilitators and great care and all of that. I remember, after I had gone through my purging and going through what I went through, and experiencing Mother Ayahuasca, I remember the shaman coming to me. He said, "You are healed," and he did something to my head or something, and he said, "You are
You
clean." And
good.
when I said that, after the ayahuasca experience, I felt like I still feel like, of course I, added on to sin, but I felt like a brand new baby. Like I was sinless. Like I was clean. I was at a fresh start. I was, you know, everything that ailed me. I was just healed of all of it. It was a miraculous experience. And even afterwards, the downloads started coming to me,
Hmm.
and Mother Ayahuasca was just giving me information. And one of the things she told me was that the only thing that's different between me and anyone else that is successful is that I give up.
Mm.
And so the message was, because I was stuck in a loop, and she was like, when you feel scared, apply pressure.
Go harder.
When you go harder, when you are doubtful, apply more pressure. When
Mm.
you are scared, apply more pressure. It was like you the only thing that is different between you and anybody else that you see out there that's doing it on a scale, on a grand scale, is that you quit. That was true, is that I was a person who would get to some place in life, and I'd be like, it ain't coming to pass quick enough, or whatever, this is not going my way, so let me give up. But my Mother Ayahuasca was like, press harder, press harder. And so that was the message that I left with Mother Ayahuasca, is that my whatever it was, and I still hadn't even started the food truck thing. So
Right, right,
I
right.
was, I was just, go in my healing journey. And so the message was, to apply more pressure, apply more
Mhm.
pressure. Don't give up, don't give up. And so,
It's very interesting because if we take a look at the timeline, right? So you said you did the ayahuasca towards the end of 2021, right?
mhm,
And had
mhm,
just moved to Playa the year before, about a year, because you moved December 2020.
yes,
So the food truck opened June 2022, right?
yes,
So do
uh-huh.
you feel it will not even do you feel, because it sounds like that gave you the clarity and also the tenacity and the guts and the balls to go out and
Uh-huh.
actually, start the food truck. So it's interesting because now you just sound like an ad for the ayahuasca, because now I want to do it. And we got
I
somebody in
mean,
the comments that said it was the best experience they had. It's truly wonderful. So well, I don't know, I'm gonna need to go to the jungle and give me some ayahuasca.
it,
Um,
it ayahuasca, and I will say that it was the best experience that I had in my healing journey, because
mhm.
it was so clear. You know, it was all, I mean, you couldn't, it's like the unexplainable. Like you couldn't even, it's like going to space and seeing aliens and then coming back down and you know, and you having to explain what you just seen, you know.
Yeah.
And I think like it kind of gives you the perspective of like who you are as a human, right? Like I went back into my body and I became a molecule. So I was just a small portion of what this world is about, you know, and
Yeah.
that anything that I wanted or needed was provided for me. You know, I was the molecule. Now just think, I was a molecule, but when I wore back into being a human, you know, like into my own body, everything that I needed, my heartbeat, my lungs,
It's
the
already
oxygen,
there.
everything was already there. So it just kind of just blew my mind, like
It's like I
everything
have
that I
everything I need. Let's go do whatever it
right,
is I want to do.
whatever you want, whatever you need, just go do
Already
it.
yours.
Everything is already provided. Yeah.
Yes. And the fact that it's like your mind, what forget who quote it is, but you know, they say whatever it is you think you can do, you do.
Mhm.
You can do. If
Mhm.
you think you can't do it, you can't do it. Right? Because it
Right.
all begins in the mind.
Mhm. Mhm.
So fast forward. All right, let's go towards well, not even fast forward. I know I want to touch briefly on your dad because I know he
Mhm.
was such a huge impact, and I'm going to say the ayahuasca too, but he was such a huge impact in starting the business. So I know he passed 4 months after you moved to Mexico. So what role would you say your dad played in your move to Mexico and also starting the food truck business?
So my dad, before he got diagnosed with the lung disease and was unable to travel, he, you know, made it quite clear to us that he was going to retire in Mexico. He worked for the United States Post Office for 37 years, and but he had been to Cabo and to different parts of Mexico um, quite a few times, and he made it very clear that that's what he was going to do is retire in Mexico. However, he had got sick and he was unable to do that,
Mm-hmm.
and so he couldn't even travel. You know, he was on oxygen, he couldn't fly, he couldn't travel anymore. But he really encouraged me to go. My dad, he just wanted he wanted us to me and my sisters and brothers to experience a life that he never was able to have. You know,
Right,
being
right,
a
right.
black man that was, you know, from Newark, New Jersey, having all the stigmas and the plights of being a black man in America, you know, he had to, you know, go to the Navy and he didn't get to finish college, you know, and so he's always been one that really encouraged us to do what he could never do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was thinking about, you know, I kind of was talking to him about, oh, I heard about Mexico, you know, and this, he was like, yeah, go to Mexico, even though he was sick and he was, you know, on his, you know, into his transition, you know. He really encouraged me to go to Mexico and to live my life and live it to the fullest. And he was just really proud of me. Like he was, as a person who was a high school dropout, a child that, you know, had mother issues, and was kind of the black sheep of the family.
Shout
My
out to the
dad,
Black Sheep.
the black sheep are the ones that change the trajectory
Yep.
and the lineage of their families, just to put that out there. But yeah, so my dad, he was really, he encouraged me. He was like, yeah, go to Mexico, you know, like, yeah, you know, it was my birthday, around my birthday time, and he was like really encouraging me. You know, he was like, you know, I would be retiring there if I can, you know, go live your life, you know, go do it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, you know, I just remember him just saying, okay, did you get your ticket? Did you, you know, I'm showing him Airbnbs and all of the above. And, you know, and so, yeah, so he is here with me. I brought his passport. I have some of his ashes. You know, I consult him on everything that I do, and he is a very strong and constant voice in my life. And so I am continuing to live his wildest dreams here in Mexico.
Now let's elaborate on that. His wildest dreams, because you never imagined you would be opening a food truck.
No, I
So where did the idea come from? Let's talk about that.
well, no, okay, all right. So the idea, I've dabbled in food for a very long time. I used to pretend like I was cooking in the kitchen doing Rachel Ray videos, so I'm not a stranger to the kitchen. Let me just say that I can come up with a idea of what I want, some kind of flavor that I want a flavor to taste like, and I
Hmm.
can literally put the seasonings together and say, okay, it's almost like math. It's like algebra. If you put
Exactly,
this
right.
with this and this, then it equals, it should taste like this if you do all
Hmm.
those things. And so I had no problem with that. But I used to say I wanted to have a restaurant or a cafe or something. But I had lost the love of cooking after my relationship that I had left previously. So I hadn't cooked in like 3 years or anything like that. And so when I was here in Mexico, and and you know I don't want to say like Mexico. I love Mexico. I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. When I first got here, though, I was very surprised about the food because
Hmm.
in America, that Mexican food be on like you have sour cream, you have beans, you got lettuce, you got cheese, you got pico de gallo. I mean, that Tex-Mex
It's
or
that's
that
the
Mexican.
Americanized Mexican food.
Girl, when I came out here and they was putting cilantro and onions on everything with lemon, I was like, where is the seasoning?
What the sour cream at?
Where is the sour cream? They didn't even know what that was. And so no fault of their own, right? This is the authentic Mexican food, which I,
Yes,
I love
yes.
and have grown to love and everything. But I just was like, now if I'm gonna be out here long term, then surely I'm gonna need some kind of something. I mean, Lord, if this is where you told me I need to be at right now, I'm gonna need some spaceness. And
Some
I knew if
grease.
some green something. I just needed something. And so I knew if I was feeling that way, as African Americans and Black and Brown people were coming from the States and making their transition to Mexico, regardless if it's Playa del Carmen, Cancun, Tulum, or wherever, if they're making their transition
Mhm.
here and they're experiencing the food the way that I am, surely they're going to start packing their bags and going back home because food is a big deal for
Yeah,
us.
yeah. Food is if the food ain't hitting, I ain't sticking. Listen,
Yeah.
baby, we
Look,
need some
the
good
food is
food.
oh God. And so at the time I had a friend who was doing like she was a chef and she was the caterer and she was cooking chicken and doing catering gigs and stuff and so I would take her to her gigs, give her rides and stuff, and I remember having a piece of her chicken and I was like, girl, I said, we need to open up a chicken shack. Like, oh, I felt like home. I
Hmm.
felt like my mama, like just having some food, like, oh my God, with some flavor. And so that started the journey on opening the food truck. And as I was opening up the food truck, I would be just speaking to my dad and just talking to him and just be like, oh my God, this is gonna be amazing. This is gonna be great. We're gonna open up this food truck and girl, I
I
mean,
know, I know, I know. So
yeah,
I remember us discussing how originally it was supposed to be you and a partner that
yeah,
that was going to open up the food truck, and everything happens for a reason. So it ended up just
right,
being you. So
yeah.
could you walk
Hmm.
us through the process of starting a business abroad? Starting a business in Mexico, right? You had the idea. What's next?
Hmm. So I had the idea, and and then after that, it was about finding the right location.
Mm-hmm.
Like finding the right location. Like in the States, you think, let me go create the business name. Let me go to get an LLC. Let me go do all the paperwork. And we kind of that was not even like a first thought. It was like, let us find the land. Let us figure out what, because here in Mexico it's a little bit different. Like um, you don't necessarily like have to go and have all that in
The
order before
beginning.
you can start a
Mm-hmm.
business. Um, And so I started to look for like locations, and it was supposed to be just like a local a building, you know, where we can just fry chicken and sell the chicken out of. But as I was walking through my neighborhood, I came across this food truck park that was, you know, right there. I was like, let me go over here and see what's going on, and talk to the people, and they were like, we have one space, and I was like, oh, I said, well, maybe this is it. And so ended up signing for the
Mhm.
space, signing the lease for the space, and so that kind of started the wheels running, rolling on opening up a business. Then you know we found I found a person who could do our truck and fabricating the truck for us, which was in Pachuca, Mexico, which is near Pueblo, Mexico, and not too far. I mean, it's not too far from Mexico City. To do the truck, I had no experience. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I
Okay, well, break
basically,
down what does fabricate the truck mean when you say
oh,
fabricate the truck.
so I had to get the truck made because you have to get. I mean, I had to get the truck made because the food truck park just leased us the space. So
Right,
we
right,
signed
right.
the lease for the space, and but we had to get a the truck to bring in to the space so that we can, you know, so that we can operate. And so I had to find a company that made trucks, and I found one down in Pachuca, Mexico, that made the truck, and it
Mhm.
took about, I'm kidding you, no kidding, it took about 3 weeks for them to make that truck.
That sounds like a fast turnaround. Is that fast or is that?
Oh no, that is fast. Okay, we literally was
I'm like
like,
3 weeks. What's the standard?
I mean, or let's say a month. Okay, I'll give it a cool month. Okay,
Hmm.
starting on April 19th, the truck was here in Mexico at the end of May, and I was starting business June 2020. I mean June 3rd, 2022. So
Wow.
it was a really quick turnaround. So the truck was being made. I didn't have no idea what I was doing. I was trying to use Google Translate to conduct business. So I will say that if you are doing business here, please get you a translator.
Translator.
Because yes, get you a translator. Child. Go ahead and invest in a translator. It will save you so much, you know, a lot of issues. But yeah, so it was like about a month, and so they were building the truck, and that's when the business partner decided they didn't want to continue on with the project, and so I had to, and with them saying they didn't want to continue on with the project, they also left with a recipe. You know, like I wasn't, you know, I didn't have no chicken recipe. Okay,
We got
I
this
wasn't
chicken
supposed to,
shop. We got the leaves. We got the truck. No chicken.
but no chicken, and I'm having to open these doors in about, I would say, 3 weeks, and
Woo.
so right, and so I remember calling my mom. And I was like, Mom, I was like, you know, you never did give us your chicken recipe, you know. And she was like, oh, you just do a little bit of this and you put a little love in here, you know. And I was like, Mama, I don't need no about no love. I need a real
I need
recipe,
a solid, some measurements.
some measurements, you know, whatever. And so, yeah, and so she gave me her recipe, and she also gave me like tips, like on how, because I did never fry chicken. To be honest, I wasn't a fried chicken eater, and I did not fry chicken.
And you
I did
opening
not.
a chicken truck.
A fried chicken truck, child.
See, that
She
just goes
gave
to
me
show
her
there's no limits to what we can do. Okay,
right, no
there's no
limits, no
limits.
limits. And so my mom gave me her recipe, and so I cooked her recipe, but it was good. My mom's recipe is banging, okay. However, it was a certain type of emotion and certain type of feeling that I wanted to feel when I ate the chicken. And so
Mm-hmm.
again, going back, I'm the person who says, okay, if you do this, if you do this, if you do this, then you should get this. And so I started kind of cooking chicken like every almost every day in my house. Uh, Before I would cook chicken, and I would have testers test the chicken. I would taste them the chicken. I'd be like, my neighbor, my housemate, he was one. I was like, can you taste this chicken? I would send the chicken out to different people to taste it, and
I would have loved that job.
right. And then once they all said, yeah, that was it, I was like, wow, okay, so this is the recipe, you know. And I just started trying to perfect it and be consistent with it. And so the recipe that people are tasting now came out of necessity and came out of just cooking every day.
You ain't had no choice but to get it right. I mean,
Because
what
I'm like,
was the alternative?
well, right, we gonna lose this money, and so I would say that I am a person who would rather fail forward than fall back. Like what can happen? I may
Somebody
lose
write that
money.
down. I need that on a shirt.
I may lose that money, but you never know what could happen unless you go through the door. Like unless you experience that, and if it doesn't work, you know what? Dust those kneecaps off and get back up and try something else. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? It doesn't hurt to try. Like, so I'm glad that and my dad during the time and the ancestors during the time would speak to me, and I would give, offerings to my father and just, like let him taste it. And he's like, girl, you cooking that chicken, girl. And that would give me like, it's more inspiration. And in my dreams, my ancestors would come to me and tell me like, do this, do that, cut the chicken this way, prepare it this way. And so I would hear a lot from in my dreams, get like instructions, and I would implement
That's the
them.
best right there. Because that's
Yes,
just for you. Like I'm not tripping. Like this is for
and
me.
it works. That's the crazy part about it, is that it's not crazy, but it works, right? Like you would never think that in your dreams they would tell you like you need to go into the thigh, like I mean literally go into the thigh and go and find this vein and pull out this vein, and I'm just like, what? That changed the whole game. You know what I'm
I
saying? So
won't
it's
lie. Your chicken is some of the cleanest, freshest chicken I've ever had.
like, thank
Because
you,
you can
thank
tell
you.
when somebody cleaning their chicken when somebody is not cleaning their chicken. For
Yes,
sure.
and it came from dreams. Even the way that I prepared the breast, it was like do the breast like this, cut the breast like this in my dream, and I would go and I was like, okay, and it was perfect. It changed the game. It changed the game. So definitely had a lot of input from the ancestors and just
Mhm.
encouraging go 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 go. So
So
yeah.
powerful to be like just in tune with yourself like that, and being able to trust that voice and listen to that voice. I feel like a lot of people definitely ignore their intuition. And the more you
Mhm.
ignore your intuition, the more it just stops coming. It's just not as often, or you don't trust yourself. But you're gonna always want the best for yourself. So it's just like
Mhm.
I'm happy
Mhm.
you spoke on that. So to recap, to talk briefly about the process. So we had found the land,
Mhm.
get the truck.
Mhm.
First of all, we have to go find the truck, get the truck made, get the recipe, and then you just open shop. So would you say that it was easier starting a business in Mexico than it was back home in the States? And is that the entire process? What it can't be it.
So I would say that you know starting a business here in Mexico is not a foreign thing. You see people here with restaurants and carts and different things like that. So they do this in their sleep. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
I would
Hustlers,
say
listen.
hustle. If you ready to hustle, they're ready to show you how to do it. So I
Mhm.
would say that it's not necessarily hard to do because finding the land I found the land, signed for it, didn't have to go through any like background checks or and putting down astronomical deposits and all of that stuff. It was kind of like you sign the paper, you say you're going to be here, then the truck was being made and everything like that, and they drove 23 hours to bring the truck here to put
Oh
it
wow.
into the park, so that part was not hard. I would say that part wasn't hard. So here in Mexico it's easier to start a business because you just find the pieces that you need to start the business, so
Mhm.
you don't have to like worry about I need to go get my LLC, I need to go get my EIN, and before I do this I got to go and get a business loan, and all of the things that
Mhm.
you think you need to do in the state. So I think that the access to starting a business is a little bit you know, how can I put it? It's almost like, like you jump before you walk, or you know what I'm
Right. So it's
saying?
like an easier entry point.
Entry point. That's it.
Yeah.
It's an easier entry point to start a business. In Mexico is what I've been told and what I've experienced is that they give you about a year's time to kind of get your stuff all together.
Oh wow.
Mexico is very slow, so getting permits, starting this, doing that, it takes a process, and so you still do business while
Wow,
you're
that's
doing
just kind of in the background
in the
getting done.
background trying to get all
Yeah.
that done. Yeah.
So
So
you
go ahead.
mentioned, you mentioned something very important about how starting a business in the US, will require a lot more capital, a lot more documentation and things like that. So, um, what would you say if someone wanted to do the same thing, right? Come to Mexico, start a food truck or start a restaurant. What would be a good starting budget for them to have?
So I have a food truck, so it's a little bit of a different budget. And so you have the food truck, and then you have like a brick and mortar, which is like a local. So I would say if you wanted to start a business, I would say between to like legit get it going and everything that you need, I would say mm, minimum,
Yeah, give us a minimum.
the minimum, I would say minimum maybe now with inflation, maybe 15,000.
Hmm.
But I would say to really like have your options and be able to move and groove like you really need to, I would say between 15 and 25 to 30,000
Hmm.
to
So
start a
what
business.
can we break down those numbers? Yeah, I'm a detail queen. What's
Yeah.
in that 15,000? Why I need 15 bands? Where it's going? Where it's going?
So 15 bands is going to be, first of all, you need to sign the lease. And so if you decide to get, so the 15 I'm saying is on the lower end with the food truck,
Right,
because
right, right.
so you would, of course, find your location. You would need to sign up for that. Those things are not that expensive. So the most of the cost is going to be the truck. You need the truck. You need to get that built up and everything like that. And then you need to be able to, get the things that you need in order to operate. You need to at least have your health certificate. You need to at least have your now you don't shoot the sheriff. You don't have to have your temporary residency, but I strongly suggest that you go through that process of getting your
Hmm.
temporary residency. You need a lawyer to help you with your permits and any type of legal stuff that you may need. Um, Also, you would need to invest in, of course, your marketing, different things like that, getting that out would be the lower end of the 15 of the 15. Now, if you want to go into, brick and mortar, you need licenses. You really need different licenses when you do brick and mortar. You need to, if it's a build out or if you need
Right, right,
to,
right. That's where that overhead is a lot more. It's
yeah,
10x.
yeah, because the truck, it came with most of the stuff inside. Like I didn't have to go and buy like a stove. I just had to buy like new refrigerator. I had to buy a lot of stuff, knickknack stuff. But the truck had like the cooking things or whatever. So if you're doing a brick and mortar, then you would need to find a brick and mortar. They require you to at least have the first and last month, probably, between the first and last month rent. You would need to figure out if you're going to do a build out. You definitely need your permits with coffee priest and with the municipality. You need to have a like a permit to do business in a dwelling. Um, there's just a lot more paperwork that you have to get done, and then you have to buy all of the equipment. So, which is still cheaper than the states, but you still want to make sure that you get good equipment to help you out with that. And just all of the knickknacks. You want to make sure that you have some savings for. rainy day, you want to be able to hire your employees, and you know, just the different ways you want to structure your business. But
Right, right,
that's on
right.
the
So it sounds like it would be smarter to start small, start with the food truck, get the capital that you would need, and then be able to reinvest in like maybe a second location or bigger location.
right. Or I mean, or get a smaller brick and mortar, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not. You can get a smaller brick and mortar, but and that's something that's relatively not needing as much of a build out, and you can always get secondhand stuff. People are always closing down businesses and needing to get rid of things that they have purchased. So it's not is you can still do brick and mortar, but what I would say is that you definitely need the cushion because here in Mexico, it's a payola kind of place. You pay to play. So
Yeah.
they come to the establishment and they're like, oh, you don't have this yet. You don't have this permit, and then you're like, well, I'm still in the process. Here's my paperwork. They still want you to pay them.
Pay
Like
for it. Right, right, right.
to stay open. So it's stuff like that.
So how would you say the locals responded to the opening of the business? How has that been? And I know that the expats definitely support, and people who come to visit, the tourists definitely show up and show out. But how have the actual locals responded to Frito's Pollo? Frito, tell me one more time.
These Frito Pollo.
But it's not Pollo. You said it's Pojo.
Okay. Pollo. These Frito Pollo. Pollo. But you can say pollo. I mean, they know that we're not pronouncing the J. So these Frito Pollo.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying. I know the slip of the tongue is gonna come out. It's gonna say Pollo. It's just gonna do it. It's just gonna do
Pollo. So just keep pollo. We
it. Keep
Americans
it
say
easy.
pollo. Yeah.
But yeah, so how have they been? How have their responses been?
So I would say for me, the locals have been amazing. Shout out to the locals. I adore and love the Mexican community because they are so resourceful. They're so willing to help. They love the chicken. They're like this. I've heard from this is like wedding chicken to like they always want to. It's like is this Louisiana? They know about Louisiana. They don't know nothing else. They know about Louisiana. I'm like similar. So, but they are just curious. They want to try something new. They love
Mhm.
discovering American brands and American cuisine, and so yeah. So I have I would say it's not a huge Mexican clientele, but just because the price point is a little bit different, but I would say that they come and they are some of the biggest supporters. They have spread the word. They've spread the word for me. And they've just been so welcoming. They have been so welcoming. And not once have I felt, well, I mean, not from the locals. I felt unwelcome.
Mm.
And them just being really excited about us opening up and being there in the community.
I'm so happy to hear that because I feel like Mexican people are just some of the most loving, caring people I have ever met, like came across. Like
And
it's
hardworking.
yeah, and hardworking. Because they the ultimate hustler. You don't know a hustler until you've met a Mexican.
A Mexican child. I'm telling you, you ain't lying on that. With the
Listen,
Mexicans, honey, I mean the ants out here working harder than the American ants. Okay, they
and
are
they
some
don't
work
complain about it.
and don't complain about it in the
Mhm.
heat. I mean, even like when I was starting the truck and I had like stuff that I needed to get inside the truck, like the refrigerator, and needed a helping hand. I mean, sorry, but no, I didn't have any of the community come and help me. It was the Mexicans who were like, let me help you get this stuff done. And so I was just very grateful to have them here that were willing to, show me the way, or even just on just things that I did not know that I need to know. They were very willing to give me the information that I needed.
I know that's right. They was like, we gonna support, and they've been
Right.
supporting. So if y'all have
And
any questions for B, please feel free to comment in the chat. I know y'all are just tuned in to this lovely lady sharing her story with us. This beautiful story. We got our 2-year anniversary creeping up. You got any plans?
mhm. So this year, when you're first starting off, you don't want to I mean, for me, I
You
wanted to make
jinxed
sure that
it.
it was, yeah, I wanted to make sure it was solid. I wanted to make sure that
Yeah.
the foundation was laid and that I was in that thing, and so not only have I been in this for almost 2 years, I have an amazing team. And so I want to more than anything celebrate the team that I have been able to
Mhm.
build and just to celebrate 2 years of doing business in Mexico. So I think I
It's a
wanted to
huge
be a little bit.
accomplishment.
It is. So I think I want to do it a little bit bigger than what I did last year and be a little bit more intentional about it. So I
Mhm.
probably need to start getting started on the celebration
The
of that. But I
planning.
do want
That would have been my job. I
Yes,
would have
yes.
taken it
Oh,
gladly.
oh, oh, how I missed you. But also I want to give back to the supporters. I'm always looking for ways to give back to them, whether it's a free side or, a discount or something. I want to do something where I'm giving back because I would be nowhere without the support of the
Mhm.
community and of, the people who believe in me, who've been there from the beginning, new and old supporters, people who come back, after 2 years and like, you're still here. Oh my God, I had told all my friends about you and we've been talking about this chicken and so yeah, so I definitely want to do something a little bit bigger than I did last year.
Girl, you used to be all in my vlogs when I was in flight. They like, you at that food truck again? Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Girl, we are the survive. I mean, what I've noticed or what I've come to know is that sometimes we are the people survivors kit, right? Like, like they come to a different place and like I have customers that order from me every day, no shame at all. You know what I'm saying? Like they order
Mhm.
from me every day and I know them and it's like it's a bit of home, right? And so I get it, and I'm so honored and grateful to be able to do it every day. To do it every day, to
Yeah.
show up and to serve the people um, a little taste of home. And so it's a great honor.
You are definitely a blessing, let me tell you. And I know you had just touched on the team and having an
Hmm.
amazing team, and I'm sure there was not an easy task being in another country. I know how strong you are about hiring locals. So, can you tell us a little bit about the hiring process and the struggles you had to overcome and all that fun stuff? How has
Yeah,
that?
I mean, and it's taken, I would say, to like really get the team that I deserve, it's taken about a year and a half, 2 years, to be
Mm,
honest. You just have to, because you're in a tourist, this Playa del Carmen is a tourist environment. You have people who just kind of go through the motions. They're here for a few months. It's very transient here. So I've had the people who come and they're only, they just want to make a few dollars real quick and then leave. And then I've had people, who want to come in and do it their way and not your way. I mean, honey, I had people who didn't told me how to cook my own chicken.
no, you did
And
not.
oh girl, yes. Be trying to do it their way and tell you how to cook the chicken. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. This is my recipe.
They
And
forget you the owner and not another employee.
right. I'm like, and I be trying to think to myself, like, what is so hard with you following directions and doing it exactly how I tell you to do it? Because you don't have to think about it if you just do it the way that it's supposed to be done. So yeah, I've had people who try to tell me how to cook the chicken. I need to do it this way, and who didn't follow directions.
The
And
audacity.
then yeah, so you have people who don't really want to listen to women. I've experienced that. Like they had a problem with a woman telling them what to do. And so I experienced that. My team now is Luis and Luz, and they are an amazing team. I mean, I can depend on them to do what it is that I've asked them to do, the way that I've asked them to do it. And just they're loyal, and I adore them, and I just appreciate them. I appreciate them so much for the care and concern that they have for the business, when
Yeah,
I'm
good
not there.
people is hard to find, and like
And
like you said,
you
it
gotta
took
hold
a
on to them.
a year and a half, almost the entire 2 years of business to finally find a solid team. So we do
Mm-hmm.
have a few questions. I want to take some questions from the viewers. One of
Okay.
these I already asked, so I'm on a money today. Somebody said, "How did the locals accept you?" We kind of covered
Mm-hmm.
that. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, Gentamu. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. I'm so sorry. But if you don't eat chicken, what other soul food items do you have? Do you have fried catfish? What else we got on the menu? Tell us about the menu, because
Oh,
it's not just
menu.
chicken.
Okay. Okay. So the menu. So we specialize in fried chicken. We have definitely expanded. When I first started, it was just fried chicken. We had some French fries, corn, and macaroni and cheese. That's it.
Mhm.
Now it has expanded. Now we have party wings. You can get all type of flavors from honey lemon pepper to hot and honey to mumbo sauce is getting ready to come back. Woo! So everybody loves the mumbo sauce. That's getting ready to come back. Hopefully next week. And you can get different flavors on the chicken. Of course, the original B's original fried chicken is the best, and of course the original flavor. Now we offer non-breaded chicken. So not only do we do the fried chicken, but we do non-breaded and just regular, just seasoned and just fried, which is a whole different flavor profile. We have our famous macaroni and cheese that has become a
Staple.
popular staple item. That's I did not know it would get this crazy. With the macaroni and cheese, we have fried cabbage. We have mashed potatoes and gravy now. We have still the grilled corn. We have our seasoned French fries, which has a special blend from the ancestors, honey, on those French fries. We have fries and gravy. We have chicken sliders. We have the honey glazed chicken slider, and then we have the regular chicken slider. We have tenders. We have so the menu has grown as you can. It's getting ready to grow even more. I didn't mention fish because we only do fish on the third Sundays of the month. Just because we do chicken, and some people don't want the chicken and the fish to be fried together because I just try to be mindful of that. But
Mhm.
your girl has been thinking about it, and I'm just like, I like the fish.
Yeah, I
I'm
know the fish be a hot commodity. I'm sure.
Girl, so I'm thinking, I'm trying to figure out a way to make this a stapled item. Fish and grits,
Hmm.
honey. I'm about to have some. I want to do fish and grits. So hopefully, maybe starting next month, we'll start doing fish and grits and stuff like that regular. But that's gonna be, the menu keeps on getting bigger and bigger and bigger because it's like, what I want to eat. Like I love fried cabbage, and baby, that fried cabbage has me in a chokehold.
We got
Um,
options for days. Just know that. Just know that.
right. Options for
Okay,
days.
we love growth. Shout out to the growth.
Mm,
We love to
the
see
growth,
it. It's a
the
great
expansion,
sign.
the expansion, the expansion. And right before, I do want to go back and say that, um, to go back real quick before we move forward, is that I did say that it's easier to start a business here. It is not, the entry point is not as crazy as it is in the States, right?
Mhm.
However, I will say that I'm in a time now where I have to like get all my ducks in order. So, like I have a Mexican corporation now. I have a business bank account now. I have an accountant that does my taxes, So you do have to get all that stuff in order, especially if you're looking to expand. And Beans Frito Pollo, we want this to be in every quarter of Mexico, so we have to make sure that it's set up so that we are able to expand.
And it will.
So and it will, so it's like, yes, it is easy, but you do have to make sure that in the time that you are in business
Just
that
don't
you
get
build.
content with it,
Yeah, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
focus on the growth.
Yeah, on the growth and the
Yeah.
expansion.
I love that you mentioned that because you'd be like, oh, it's easy. I'm gonna just stay right here forever. You're
Mm-mm.
never gonna level up.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. No, no, they will come knocking at your door like, man.
Look, you trying us. Okay, Miss Ashley wants to know what prompted you to move. And I know we talked about it earlier, so you can give her like a summary. And have you
Mhm.
experienced any delays on getting equipment due to the panty shipping issue?
No. I would say what made me move to Mexico is I originally came here for my birthday, my 40th birthday, because everything else was closed. Mexico was open. My dad encouraged me to come here, and so I moved. I came to Mexico. Fell in love with the place. Just was like, wow, is this what this was? Like, is this what this what we've been missing? And decided to stay, extend my stay, and end up staying for 10 months. After I lost my dad, moved back to the States to take care of his business. After that was taken care of, I was able to move out here full time with me and my dog. And as far as getting equipment, now I would say that no, it's not hard to get equipment here because it's different than it's how can I put it? I guess that maybe it's easier to get stuff here from like China and stuff like that. If you're getting shipments in from China from other places. I haven't really seen any problems with getting things here. Yeah, no. Haven't had any problems. You just have to give yourself time, right? And you can't just be like, it's not like Amazon the next day shipment because a lot of the stuff that I get, I have to import in to Mexico. So it takes about a week and a half for that stuff to come from if you're buying from the States, it could take about, a week and a half to get here.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So
okay.
just
So,
give yourself some time.
what advice would you give to
Hmm.
someone watching that's maybe interested in moving to Playa, starting a business in Mexico, starting a food truck, or just, getting their
Hmm.
hands in the food industry, period? What advice would you give?
Well, that's a very layered question. So I will start with saying, I would start with saying just do it. If you have a desire to start a business, I would first, well, I would say like think about a need that needs to be filled. I mean, I think
Mhm.
that's a cliche kind of thing. People say like think about a need and then see how you can fill that need, right? That is like one of the biggest things. If you can identify a need that's not happening or that is lacking or that you didn't have a good experience with, that would be the first thing. And then I would look at how can I fill that need, right? And so I would do that first is come up with that. And then I would say, do it. Like, know that everything that you need will be provided as you are on the journey. I read a book called The Alchemist, and one of my favorite quotes in that book is that when you really want something, the entire universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. And I believe that and I live by that really, really strongly in my heart that everything that I need is going to be provided for. It doesn't look like it. I didn't have a whole bunch of money. I didn't have, the rich uncles and, I didn't have no family here, anything. But on my journey, I would meet this person or, this
Mhm.
door will open up or this would happen. And so I would say find how you can fill a need, and then just start doing it little by little. It's not gonna. Nothing is overnight. Nothing is um without challenges or anything like that. So but just start putting one foot in front of the other. And on that road, on that journey, things will start coming together. And even they will come together even beyond your wildest dreams, because we have a plan and thinking that, oh, it's supposed to go this way. But if you say, I don't have all the answers, I don't know the correct way to do things, that's my default. I didn't know. I didn't know stuff. I didn't know, like like I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know, right? And so if you look at it from a point of like you don't have all the answers, you're gonna mess up, you're gonna make mistakes, and all of that is okay. The thing
Mhm.
is to start,
Just start.
just start, just start. Get out there and just start. You gotta.
All
You
these
don't know if you're.
quotes. I need them on a
Yeah.
shirt. I'm gonna go back and write down.
I know. I've been having people in my inbox come on, when are you gonna have merch? We want a shirt. We want a keychain. I'm like, you know what? I got to get on that. So that's my my next few things that I'm gonna be doing is trying to get some merch and some shirts and stuff out. You know.
Give the people what they want. What you say, feel that need. You better go
Yeah,
feel that
feel that need.
need.
Feel that need.
Okay,
Yes,
Miss
yes, yes.
Ashley has another question. This will be the last question for today. How is securing a location in real estate different than the United States?
It depends. Are you saying like a home or for your
I think she's referring
the
to probably the
business
property for the food truck.
or for the business? It's as easy as you see what you want. You go talk to the owner, and y'all come up with an agreement. And you come up and you just fill whatever they may say they want a deposit that you a deposit to take it off the market so that they won't show it to anybody else. And for instance, I was going to open up another location um, in another area, and I had found this location, and it was like the deposit was I need to put down 1 month's rent for deposit, and that took it off of the market so nobody else would get it. And you just do that, and then once you get ready to move in and sign the paperwork and everything, um, they they get a notary. You have to like go to a notary and sign all the paperwork and get it notarized and all of that. But basically, it's
It's
really
real
just
straightforward.
yeah, find a place, talk to the people, the owners, and see what they want for you. What do you have to comply with in order to make this to complete the contract, and then you just do that. But
I
it's not super hard.
it's so interesting because I didn't realize that America is one of the very few countries in the world that actually has like credit, and we didn't even have credit until the 80s, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
well, I don't want to get into the reason why we have credit because we'll go down a rabbit hole, but
Right.
y'all can do that research yourself on why we even have the credit system. It's due to this right
Hmm.
here. But anyway,
Hmm.
when I was in Playa and I was getting my apartment, I couldn't believe how easy the process was to get my apartment. I was like, oh, yeah, just baby, as long as you got your money, they don't care about nothing else. We don't need to see
Nothing else.
your birth certificate. We don't need to see your blood type. America want to see everything. What's your mom
America was
blood type?
right. It's like you pay your deposit, you show your interest, you pay your deposit, and that's it. Because at the end of
Yeah.
the day, like you know, your housing is really a basic need, right? So it's like you need your housing. So why make it harder to get housing
Yep.
if that's a basic need.
I think that literally the only thing I had, so I went to see my apartment, went apartment hunting, and then once I decided on the apartment, I paid the deposit. So I had to pay my deposit, which was first month's, and then
Hmm.
that took it, like you said, nobody else could move in, nobody else, could come and see it or anything. And then the owners were still in the condo, so when they moved out, my move-in day, I had to pay that month's the first month. And then I was
Hmm.
good to go.
Hmm.
And they needed a copy of my passport. And I was just like, oh,
That's it, right?
that's
And
it.
the other crazy thing about it is that you can move in on any day of the
Any
month.
day of
Like
the month.
like I remember like in the States we used to like have to wait till the first, or
Yep.
it would be like it was like weird how they would make you like move in and stuff like that. Here it could be the 13th or the 8th or
Mhm.
whatever day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It don't
And
matter.
it's furnished. Let's
Oh,
baby. Furnished.
furnished, furnished, yes,
Furnished. And when I
furnished,
found
yes.
out that most country apartments and a lot of places call them flats are furnished, I'm like, America really hates us, dude. They just hate us. They just hate us so bad.
They're milking us for everything, like
Every little thing.
every little thing you have to pay the deposit, you have to pay for the credit check, you sign this lease for a year or 6 months, and then you have to buy your furniture or bring your furniture in
Don't
there,
forget about them application fees. If you may
oh,
get denied and you don't get your money back.
and you don't get your money back. You show right, but it's
No.
almost like the red tape to getting a place in the States is ridiculous. And another thing that I found out here is like they're not like a huge like, oh, we're gonna evict you or anything like that. It's like if you don't make it the for the year or whatever, as long as you pay the last month's rent or whatever, then you know it's not a ding against you. You know what I'm saying? So you know it's they really they put into perspective like what that basic need is and how it could be provided for a year.
So all in all, Mexico was the right move, baby. That was the
Mhm.
move, best move. Would you say
Best
you're
move.
proud?
Best move. Yeah, yes, best move. I mean, you know, we didn't touch on this, but when I got out here, you know, I was on depression medication and about 50 pounds heavier, you know. And one thing that when I got out here, I was able to like have access to the fresh fruits and
Hmm.
the food was different and I started to feel better, feel happier, and I got vitamin D every day, or you can go to the beach, or you can just, you know, it became a place of my happy place, and I was able to get rid of my depression medicine. I was able to, you know, focus on health. I didn't feel like I had a bunch of like uh, you know, animals, like you know how you eat a piece of beef and all of a sudden you feel like you got the whole cow inside you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? It's like here the food is not full of a whole bunch of hormones or steroids, and so you know it's not. I would like to say it's not killing you. You know, it's actually helping you
yeah.
thrive. You know, and live, which is very different than the states. So best decision I can make. I'm so happy to be here. I love Mexico, and Mexico definitely loves you.
A word. I know that's right. Well, thank you
Mhm.
so much, B, for coming on and telling us all about all in your business. Thank you for giving us all your
You're
business
welcome.
today. And I
Mhm.
appreciate you so much. Wishing you many, 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 many years of business expansion
Thank
and
you.
growth, not just in Playa, but like you said, every corner of Mexico. I see this for you. My
That I can get in, that I can get on. Yes, come on. Go ahead, put it out there in the universe.
And I have to get back out there. I need me some chicken. I gotta get back to Playa. I do. I
Come
do.
on, come on. Coco waiting for you to come on out here and
Oh,
spoil us.
Coco. Wait, where is she? Can we get a glimpse at Coco? Where's
Come
Coco?
on. Here's my baby. Say
Coco.
hello.
Don't be acting shy.
Hello.
Coco, you see your auntie. Coco.
Say hello. Say hi, everybody. You say
Why
hi
she
to
acting
everybody.
camera shy?
No, she's
So
not
this
camera
the
shy.
cutest little
Hey.
doggy. And she's so
Yes,
good, y'all. She's trained.
very trained. He's the
Well,
best
thank
dog
you,
ever.
B. I know today your
Mm-hmm.
day off. So every day, B Frito Pollo is open, y'all, except for Mondays. If you ever in Playa, make sure y'all go check her out.
Yes, check me out. And my website is www.bfritopollo.com. So just check it out. You know.
Yes. And got the gram right there. That's the handle.
Yes,
So
yes.
you got any last
Mhm.
words?
No, again, thank you for having me. Next time. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you know, you doing this and allowing me to express myself and speak to you on your platform to your audience. And if anyone has any questions, you can reach me on Instagram or Facebook. You can just look up the apostrophe as Frito Pollo, and I'll be happy to do as much as I can and answer questions for you. And yes, hurry up and come back. You know, you're one of my favorite people, Jazz. I mean, you really are. Like we had some really good times, you
We
know.
did.
And I mean,
We
I
really
hate
did.
when you left, and I try not to get attached to people, you know. But you know, you really we had some good times. You
We
did, and
did.
you know,
And some
and so
deep
I hope that.
talks and yeah. And I
Yes,
think
and
that's
so
like I'm loving traveling, but that's like that's one of the worst parts, dude. Just everything being temporary. And you're making all these genuine connections, but it's like
mhm.
eventually, one day you're leaving. So
Yeah, but the good thing about it is you have a platform and you can include those people that you've met on your journey into your platform and welcome them. So it gives us an opportunity to connect even more. And, you know, you're a phone call away, you know, or
yeah.
whatever. And I know you'll be back. So
No, I'm coming back.
again,
Don't worry.
again, thank you. And thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate you for allowing me to share my story and You guys all have a wonderful day and be on the lookout for me, more of these Frito Pollo.
Yes. And on that note, we are signing off. Good night, y'all.
Good night.